Good evening again. My name is Anika Tene. I'm the Director of Grants, Awards, and Programs at Creative West, which is a nonprofit organization based, um, it was originally based in Denver, Colorado, but now we are a fully remote organization. And I, for example, live in Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. And so I'm going to be sharing more about what is Creative West, what is the Pacific Jurisdictions Artist Fund, who are the co-designers of this program. Many of them are here in this room. What is their role? And of course, we're going to talk about how to apply. In fact, we want to make sure that tonight you are registered for this, that you set up a profile and everything. And then we'll also have Q&A, okay? And there's some other things that we'll do. So the first part will be a lot of talking, but then we'll do some more hands-on work. And let me just move this so I'm not right at this board. Okay, so first I want to talk about what is Creative West. So as you see here, Creative West is an organization that uplifts artists across the Pacific and the Western U.S. by providing funding, mentorship, and culturally rooted support that honors the unique traditions. So first of all, I want to say that we're honored to be a part and have relationships with what we call the Pacific jurisdictions, which is for us, American Samoa, CNMI, and Guam. We believe that artists are culture bearers, they're change makers and visionaries. And this fund that we're going to talk about tonight is rooted in care and shaped by the spirit of these islands. It is not just about funding, it's about affirming your value. And so that is very much in line with the values of Creative West. And I don't know, has anyone before tonight heard of Creative West? No one? Or West Staff? West Staff, West Staff, West Staff. Okay, so that was our former name. Last year in September, we changed our name to Creative West. So we are, in fact, West Staff and Creative West are the same. The last time we were here on CNMI on Saipan was 2 years ago. Was there anyone who met any of us? I was here then, Saji. I remember your face. We had a artist meet and greet at the Crown Plaza. Yeah, and then we were at the Lighthouse. So I just want to make sure. So that all of that to say that Creative West is not just showing up on Saipan and saying, hey, you know, we don't know you, you don't know us, but we want to say we have been developing this relationship for a few years. With the islands, we were tasked during the pandemic by the federal government through the National Endowment for the Arts. Originally, they asked us if we would help to disperse COVID funding at that time, specifically first to the CNMI. So our first relationship was with the CNMI during pandemic times. And then after that, we were asked to bring American Samoa and Guam into our region. And in the past, our region has been the 13 states of the West. So if there was a US map here, and Colorado is kind of in the middle. So all the states that are on this side of the Colorado River, and that includes Hawaii, and now includes, for the past few years, has included American Samoa, CNMI, and Guam. And so over these past few years, we have been able to disperse funds throughout the Pacific Islands, more than $500,000. And specifically in the Northern Mariana Islands, as you can see, these are round numbers, but about $242,000 from 2023 to 2024 went to 34 grants right here in the Northern Mariana Islands. And those have been individual artists and arts organizations grants. So that is just to say that we are invested and we're not also here just to dump money, but to build relationships. So now, before I get into the Pacific Jurisdictions Artist Fund, I want to say a little bit more about Creative West, because I have another colleague that is here tonight from my organization, Creative West, and that is Sandy Flores, and she is the Pacific Jurisdictions Pacific Jurisdictions Manager. And I'd love to for Sandy to come and talk a little bit about what she does. Yes, let's give her a hand. Sandy. Okay, so we have a couple of colleagues that will be coming on the island tomorrow. Do they arrive? Tomorrow night. Our president and CEO, Christian Gaines, and our deputy director, David Holland, they'll be here. So we'll be here for the Flame Tree Festival. We'll have a table at the Flame Tree Festival. So if you want to come say hi, or you thought of a question that you didn't ask tonight, please come by and see us. Okay, and you'll get to meet them as well. So now let's move to talking about the Pacific Jurisdictions Artist Fund. That is the opportunity that is here now, that is opening, launching today on CNMI. And we're really honored to launch this program here. This fund is rooted in our shared belief that artists are culture bearers, change makers, and visionaries. And so in order for us to follow that belief, I couldn't be in my office and say, oh, let me design this program by myself. No, I had to have people that are from here and from American Samoa and from Guam to help design this program. So you're going to meet some of them in a few minutes. But I want to tell you a little bit about what their role has been. We have been since early February designing this program, meeting on Zoom every week for 2 hours a night on Thursdays, my nighttime, to figure out what is the program that is best going to work for the Pacific Islands. And so these co-designers were very important for shaping this fund, for connecting it to community, and for guiding the process. So first, they made sure that the program is grounded in local values and culture. So sometimes if we come with ideas, the co-designers would say, no, that's not in line with our culture, or this is what's in line with our culture. They would also connect with community. They helped us spread the word. This is why you know about this tonight, and our workshop earlier today is because they helped to spread the word. And they also, over the course of the design of this program, talked to artists in the community to find out what's important to them, brought those conversations back to our meetings so that we could make sure that those thoughts were incorporated into the program. And so they helped to guide the process, making sure that we are strengthening the fund for the future. This is the first year of this program. but our intention is to offer this fund annually. Okay. So what is this Pacific Jurisdictions Artist Fund? It's a new grant for artists and cultural practitioners in CNMI. So that's all 3 islands, and it's unrestricted support. And what we mean by the term unrestricted is that it's just that. If there's not something that you have to say, I'm doing this project, or I'm doing a very specific thing, and then you have to show us proof at the end that you did it. It's not that kind of thing. It's more for you as artists. We want to be focused on caring for you and what's important to you. And in this application, you're going to share what you need and why it's important to you. So the main thing is for you to be able to describe that, okay? So about the fund, some quick facts. So each applicant can request up to $6,000, okay? The average grant size will probably be about $1,500. But we think that grants could start even $100 or $500 or $600, depending on what it is you need. You may say, oh, I'm a musician, I need a new guitar. Maybe that's $600, $700, depending on what you spend. And, or you're a carver and you need a new tool. Maybe that's $100, you know? So whatever you say that you need and the reason that you need those funds, that's what we're going to be looking at. And it's your responsibility as the person who's writing the application to tell your story honestly, impactfully, because it is competitive. I think we had about 20 people at the workshop earlier today. There's about, I don't know, 15 or so here tonight, and there'll be others. What's that? That's right. We'll get more into that. So like my example, I gave the example of a carver, of a navigator. There's so many things, but we'll get into that. So we're using a shorthand artist, right? There's going to be a total of $26,000 available per island. We estimate that there may be around 10 to 20 awards per island. That's why I gave you those examples of maybe you're going to ask for $500 or $1,500 or even the full $6,000. It's up to you to explain your need. Now, you don't need to be a nonprofit. You don't need to have a degree. You don't need to be registered with the arts agency. You don't need to submit a resume. But this is what makes you eligible. You are eligible if you are an artist, a culture bearer, or tradition keeper. You need to be 18 or over. You need to be living on CNMI, American Samoa, or Guam. You need to be connected to your community and culture, and you will explain that again in your application. We're going to look at the application questions right now. You need to be working in any creative form. There's just a few examples here. It's not all of them. It could be dance, weaving, food, tattooing, poetry, film, language, healing arts, carving, navigation, the list goes on. So what can this fund support? What can you ask for? Again, these funds are for you. You use them how you see fit based on your need. And here's a few examples. It could be time to rest. It could be your own self-care. Maybe you've been working really hard and you just need time away. You need to know that your bills are going to be paid. You need to take a break from work so you can focus on your art, whatever it may be. But you need time. You may need tools, materials, equipment. Those are some of the things I spoke about. I mentioned guitar strings, tools. It could be art supplies. It could be so many things. You want to travel to another place. Maybe you want to travel to Japan to be a part of a festival there, or You want to take a class or event. You want to register for the Flame Tree Festival or other festivals. These funds can help with that. Rent, food, wellness. It's up to you. And just by the way, these applications are confidential. No one is going to go and share, oh, this is what Anika asked for. It's not that type of process. We keep your information confidential. So applications are open now. They just opened here. And you will have access to the application tonight. Okay. And then they're going to close on CNMI on June 2nd. Then our process is after they close, we'll take the month and into July to review and make decisions on who's getting selected. Then in August, there'll be an in-person orientation here on island. I'll talk more details about that. In September, there'll be a celebration. In that time, you receive all of your funds. So it's not like you're waiting a year or 6 months or something like that, but whatever you have been approved to receive, if you are selected, you'll get it in this time frame. Now, all applications have to be submitted online. We have a program called Go Smart. Anyone here of Go Smart before? Go Smart. Okay. It's pretty straightforward, and I'm going to take you through the process. Now, you can choose how you respond. You can write your application in words, or you can use an image, take a photo of something that represents your answer. You can create a video, or you can create an audio. So if you don't feel comfortable writing everything out, you can make a video or an audio recording if that's more comfortable for you, right? And we'll talk more about that. So the application basically has 7 questions, and I simplified the questions here, but we'll look at the very specific questions that are on the application. So the questions are basically asking you, who are you? What is your work? What do you need? How much are you requesting? Why are you requesting that amount? And if you were selected, what would be the impact on you? What would be the impact on your community? Are there any questions here that you say, that's a hard question, I don't know the answer to that? I hope not, because the idea around these questions is, this is like a conversation. This is something you would be sitting and having coffee, chatting with a friend, and you could answer all these questions. That's the idea. We're not trying to make it complicated. Does that make sense? The only other requirement is that we need to see a sample of your work. And that could be an upload or a link of a photo, video, song, poem, or other creative expression. It could be a video, like if you are a carver and you have many, many examples of your work, you could take your phone and do a video of that work. We just want to be able to see it. This is not for judging. This is just for connection. And you can do all of these recordings or photos on your cell phone. We're not looking for a high quality, something like that. And as I say, it's not for judging. You're not getting or losing points based on, oh, I like this or I don't like this. It's really about, we want to be able to see your work. And why it's also, are you raising a hand? I'm sorry. Okay. And why that's also important is that your work is not going to be judged by people who know you. Your application isn't going to be reviewed, I should say, by people from Saipan or Rhoda or Tinian. The applications from CNMI will be judged by people from another island. So either Guam or American Samoa. Those people won't know you, right? For the most part. So we want to just be able to share an example of your work so they can see a little bit more about you. Now we will talk about how to apply on GoSmart. We'll show you how to create an account, how to find the application, how to get through every question, and you can apply on a computer or on a cell phone. And I will say that Emma, Lenny, and this library that we're in have all said, if you want to use the computers here, if you don't have access, if you don't have access to Wi-Fi, you can come and get some support from there. You just need to make sure that you schedule time. So we'll talk about that more. Do you want to ask your question? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That fits. It's multimedia is a part of arts. So absolutely that fits. Okay. All right. Thanks for that question. And please feel free, even though we do have a Q&A, if you have a question that comes up, just let me know. Okay. Now let's talk about how applications are reviewed. As I said, your application is going to be reviewed by reviewers on another island, not your island. So each response to your questions are going to be scored 1 point to 10 points across these 6 categories. Cultural grounding. How are you showing that that you and your work is grounded in culture? We'll talk more about that when you see that very specific questions. Your creative practice, your need, the amount that you've asked for, the personal impact that it will have on you to receive the funds, the community impact. Those are the areas that you will receive a score 1 to 10 for each of these, right? Obviously 1 being the lowest score, 10 being the highest score. Then everyone receives just 1 bonus point for the work sample. So that's where I'm saying we're not judging. We're not going to give you 10 or 5 or 1 for your work sample. It's just 1 point so that we know, okay, they submitted the work sample, we have it, that's 1 extra point. And whether or not you get selected for the fund, you will still get feedback. So our idea is that everyone deserves positive, constructive, helpful, kind feedback. So even if you're not, whether you're accepted or not, we are making sure that all the reviews include comments that are helpful so that they will help you with whatever you apply for in the future. All right. Applications are going to be due when? June 2nd. And there's some in-person requirements. We have the orientation in August, and that is when you'll come together on Saipan and you will be oriented into the program. You will receive the first 85% of whatever you've been awarded. So let's say for an even number, it's $1,000. So how much are you going to get at the orientation? $850. And you'll spend some time, you'll get to meet the other awardees. There'll be a meal shared. The folks in this room who are the co-designers will be there. Maybe there'll be some community leaders there. And then in between, each of the agencies, the arts agencies, the nonprofits that some of the folks here work for might offer various workshops that you can go to that are free of charge. that might help you as an artist. These are completely optional, but those workshops will happen August, September, in the month of August and September. So those are things that are happening in between. And then in mid-September, sometime there, we will have a virtual session where the awardees from this island, from CNMI, and the awardees from Guam and the awardees from American Samoa will be able to get on a Zoom together, introduce, network, find people that are doing work similar to you or different than you. It's an opportunity to get to know other people across the islands. I do want to mention, I don't think I've said anywhere else, for CNMI, the awardees or the applications can be people from Tinian and Rhoda. If someone from those islands are selected, we will make sure that they are able to come to the orientation in August and to the celebration in September, right? We will cover that for anyone who does not live here on Saipan, because this is where those in-person activities will take place. And also in September, there'll be a celebration, maybe a barbecue, that kind of thing. You get to talk to everyone. There'll be a plaque that you receive, and you'll receive the final 15% of your award. So there's the email address if there's questions, and there's some QR codes on the table that have this website, but we're going to talk more about it after the break. So don't leave yet, because this is going to be the how-to portion of the evening, a mini workshop on using GoSmart and a little more on writing grants. Before, yes, Emma, go ahead. And frankly, thank you, Emma. This is a pretty straightforward application. You have over a month to do it. If you started now, I see some people have notebooks, maybe you want to write out your answers first before you put them on paper and put them in the application. Take your time, work on it a little bit every day. Let someone read it who is not an artist and say, do you understand this? Does this make sense to you? You want it to be straightforward, simple, because you're going to see in the next section that you only have so many words. You don't have a lot of space. And for each question, it's only about 300, 350 words. And then if you decide to do an audio or a video, it's a maximum of 5 minutes. So you don't have a lot of time. You need to be straight to the point and clear. So welcome to GoSmart. I'm going to take you through how to apply online. This is going to get a bit more granular. How to. So GoSmart is the system that we use to collect applications for this fund and all applications at Creative West. GoSmart is a technology product that we created at Creative West, and we've been using for many, many years to collect grant applications. So I'm going to walk you through step by step from making an account to submitting your application. Remember that you can apply using words, writing it out, or you can use a video, audio, or whatever format feels right for you. But you have to choose one. See, it says or. You have to choose one. You can't use all three. You have to choose one. So now we're going to talk about creating an account. So for those who have their phones and are familiar with QR codes, please grab the code. There are some codes on the table, or Lenny has one in his hand, if it's not too far. Everybody got it? Any no's? Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is look at this page. So I'm gonna click there too. And this is actually taking us to the front page of Go Smart. So there's a welcome, and then it shows you the grants that are currently open. And I've made sure that at the top is this one, Pacific Jurisdictions Artist Fund. I'll fix that. And then there's a little bit of information about the fund. And now more specifically, when it opens. So the application is open now. In fact, it's been open since 1 a.m. today here on Saipan. But then it closes at very specific times. And these are just a little bit quirky because of the time zones that we're in the United States. So here on Saipan, on Rota, on Tinian, the application will close at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock on June 2nd? Is that what it said? I'm seeing nods. 3:59. If you submit it at 4 o'clock, what's gonna happen? You're too late. You're too late. As Emma was saying, she was under the gun. She had 7 minutes to apply. So if you just submit on June 1st, you won't have to stress, right? We'll make decisions by late July and we'll notify everyone whether they received it or not. And then I told you about the optional coaching, support, workshops that are going to be available for those who get in. And then there'll be a required virtual session that'll be scheduled for mid-September. We don't know the exact dates yet for some of these things because we need to make sure that all of the awardees are available. But we know the final celebrations will happen in late September. Now, if you click to apply, it's going to take you to create an account because you don't have an account yet. So what you can do, you can click here to apply, or you can go to the top of the screen and create a new account. Now, if you have applied for a Creative West or West Staff grant before, it doesn't matter. You still need to create a new account because it's for every program, every application, unfortunately, we have to have a new account with Creative West. So I know some are going to be faster than others, and I want to just make sure I go step by step. So when you click on create a new account, now you're going to set up your profile because you can only apply once you have a profile. There's the terms and conditions. Feel free to read through those. And then once you have, you need to check the box that you agree to the terms and conditions. For now, I'd love for you to go ahead and click that box, even though you don't have time to read it, but you can always print or download the agreement so that you know. You can always go back and read it later. Now, are you an individual or an organization? It's kind of a trick question. What do you think you should? Individual, why? Sorry? Yes, and this is an individual artist program. If you click this program is for individuals. If you click organization, you will not be able to go further. When you try to open up the application for this fund, the program, the product here will not let you. You have to click individual. After that, you're going to create a username. I'd like everybody who has a computer or who has a laptop, who has a cell phone, let's do this tonight. Let's make sure that we're setting up an account. All right. So we're only going to focus on the areas that say required. So you're going to create your username. There's mine. And then password. Make sure it's something that you'll remember. Don't make it too difficult, but make it safe. And then you're going to write that password again. See, I have so many accounts. Then your first name and your last name are required. Then your email address. That same email address again is going to go in the confirmation. I know a lot of us I probably have 5 or 6 different emails. You need to remember which email you used. Don't forget. If you forget something, there's always a way to remember your password and all of that, but try not to forget. Next section is contact information. You're going to provide personal information if you're registering for an individual, and that's what we're doing. So for personal information, we need your legal name. Maybe you have a name that you use every day, but that's not the name on your driver's license or your passport. That's the name we want there. The name that's on your driver's license or your passport or your social security card, that's the name that we need there, your legal name. Then we need a phone number, your address. Post office is fine. Thanks for that question. Then you keep United States. And then there's a drop down for states and provinces. CNMI is under N, Northern Mariana Islands. And then you'll, of course, do your city, do your zip code. Website is not required. This is just a profile. The reviewers don't see this. You're not going to be judged if you put a website there. No one's looking at this. This is just for our records. Now, additional information. This is important because it will be different for different people. Am I going too fast? Okay. So again, you want to select individual artists under artist description. That is required. Now you're going to go to applicant discipline. Now there's several choices and you might not initially see yourself, right? But I would say, first of all, if you are a carver or a navigator or healing arts, please choose folk life and traditional arts. Yes. Yes. Bead making. You can decide that. I personally would choose media arts, but you're not being judged by this. And this list is not exhaustive. Another thing that you can check when you click design arts, what options are there under subdiscipline? Subdiscipline is not required, but you can see there where it's going, architecture, fashion, right? And then if we clicked on visual arts, graphics, and then if you go to media arts, film, audio, video, technology, experimental. That's why I say, choose the one that you feel best represents you. Maybe it's multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. Maybe it's non-arts or non-humanities or humanities. Literature, there's some writers here. It's not a perfect list. It's made by tech people. We'll give them grace, okay? The main thing is that you choose something because this question is required. You're gonna click save. And then you set up your account. Do we need any help at the back or are you good? Okay, Miss Patty's helping, so I will keep moving. Now, you should be logged in. I'm just gonna log in. Does it automatically for me? So if you're not at this page, click on the top of the screen. You see home, edit profile, grant applications and forms, additional resources. And just a note, this is where you could edit your profile if you wanted to, if you moved and you needed to change information. Would someone who doesn't have a laptop like to have a laptop brought in here now? You do it at home. Okay. If you have to, that's fine. We're gonna send a recording so you can still watch the whole thing. But this is all that we're doing and then we'll be done. Okay, no laptops. Thank you so much, Miss Erlinda. So now here we are at grant application and forms. I'm a little worried about you all in the back, but I gotta keep going. Okay, so now here again, we have the program description. Here is a link to the guidelines. I'm just gonna click on this for now. You don't need to necessarily, but here's where you get even more information. This would take you back to click here to apply. There's a link to the presentation slide deck that I shared tonight. I saw some of you taking pictures, but you have the link there. The recording link, I'm recording here on Zoom right now, and I will add that here so that you have access. But it's got all of the information that we've shared tonight, plus a little more detail. It tells you how the points are broken down. I encourage you to look at the guidelines. And if you go all the way down, there's a summary table that puts everything into a table so you know exactly what you're getting into. Back to the application form. So I've already submitted my application, but you have not. So there should be a button that says start. Click that start button. Let me go back and I'm going to change my status in the back end so that that change to progress, save. All right. So now I can go in the back end. Sorry. You have the start button? You pushed it? Push the start button. And that should take you to this screen. All right. Now we're looking at the application itself. There's a lot of information on guidelines. If you are going to write your response, you have a limit of 15 characters per question. That adds up to about 250, 300 words. 1,500 characters. Only submit one format per question. Do not upload or link a video, audio, image if you're submitting a written response. I said that already. And here, if you are sharing a link to a video, or audio, or image, your link must be under 100 characters. It must include https://. It can't be password protected, because if it is, we don't know the password. So make sure that it's open. If your link is longer than 100 characters, you need to use something like Bitly to make it shorter. I see some nods. You know what Bitly is. If you don't, come see me after. The total length of your video or audio must be 10 minutes. Why are you nodding? Does it say 10 minutes? 5 minutes. 5 minutes max. I don't want that. I want a link. So YouTube, Dropbox, Google Drive, I want a link. We don't want you to upload because it takes too much time. It doesn't always work. The Wi-Fi is not very strong. Save yourself the trouble. Give me a link. All right. It's so important that you save your work all the time. If you scroll to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a button that says save work. If you don't do that and you close the box or you close your laptop, don't expect the information that you wrote to be there. Hasta la bye-bye. I'm going to use that from now on. All right. So now let's look at the questions. And remember, I gave you sort of a short version of the questions, but now here's the actual question on the application. The main question says, tell us about yourself. Then the part in italics is saying, it's giving you more information to help you answer that question. By tell us about yourself, we mean, who are you and what values, identities, or traditions shape your creative or cultural practice? Tell us about yourself. And you see, if I start typing, the character count goes down. So you'll know when you get to 1,500 very quickly. Next question. What kind of creative or cultural work do you do? In other words, what inspires you? What forms or traditions do you work in? Who are your teachers? Who have you learned from? These questions, you don't have to answer these specific things. You may have other ways of answering this question of what kind of creative or cultural work do you do, but these questions in italics are meant to help you answer the main question. Next question, what do you need most right now to sustain or grow? Be specific if you can. For example, tools, time, rest, training, connection, vacation. What do you need most right now? You've got 1,500 characters if you're going to write it to answer that question. Then a very simple question, how much are you requesting? You may request up to $10,000. $6,000. It's not a typo. You may request up to $6,000, but remember that most awards will be between 500 and 2,500, maybe a little bit less. So just, if you know that you need a new guitar and you put $6,000, I don't know what guitar you want, but you need to think about that. You need to think about how realistic is my response based on what I say that I need. Now, because in the next question, you need to tell us a bit about the amount you have requested. How does this amount reflect your needs? You need to explain that. Next question is, how would this award impact your life? Share a bit about your personal story. And I want to say again, this information is confidential. The reviewers won't go out and share, oh, this is what she said. No, we don't hire people like that. Next question is, how would this award impact your community? So the other question was about you. This one is about your community, right? The sub questions, please share how your creative or cultural work connects with your community. Would this support help you teach, mentor, gather people, preserve tradition? I heard a lot of cultural preservation here when you all were sharing your elevator pitches. Will it help you uplift others through your art? Impact can be quiet or bold, personal or shared. What matters most is what feels true to you and those that you work with. So there's no right answer. The right answer is a clear answer that anyone who reads it understands what you're trying to say. We're not judging you on what you want to do or what's important to you. You're being reviewed on how clear you're able to explain it. So if you decide that you are going to not write any of this out, but you're going to submit a video, or an audio or a photo that expresses your application, you need to upload it. Or rather, I'm going to change that word upload. I don't want uploads because I found today it's too slow. You need to link your photo or recording through a platform like YouTube, Vimeo for the photo, Google Drive, Dropbox would be better. You need to, like I said before, ensure the link is accessible and that you have the prefix. Time limit, 5 minutes or less. So there's a link that I put earlier today. It's still there. So I can just, if I type something here and I go out of this, is it going to save? Why? I have to click save work. I just typed some jumble here, but it's new. If I leave this, if I close this page, it's not going to be there later because I didn't save my work. You have to click the save button every time. Now you see, so I've saved my work. Now you see at the bottom, it says save and next. So that's going to take me to the next page. This next section is about that work sample. Remember, we need a work sample, and that could be a photo, audio, or recording link. It has the same rules. It needs to be, if it's an audio or a video, it needs to be 5 minutes or less. If it's a photo, I still need a link. I would think it would make the most sense for what you have said in your application that your work sample should be related to what you've expressed in the rest of your application. Yes? So you need to take a sample of that. Don't send us the whole manuscript, because if you do, more than likely the reviewer isn't gonna read the whole thing. We didn't give a page limit, but I would recommend just a few pages, taking that, putting it in a file on Google Drive, and putting that link there. I think you're giving me something that I need to add. If you're showing a literary sample, should just be 3 to 5 pages. Yeah, it needs to be short. Anthology sounds like a lot. Nobody's gonna read that. Yeah. Montage video, 5 minutes or less. If you already have a demonstration of something that you've already done, so you're gonna have to figure that out. But as a teaching artist, I would want to see you teaching. The next question is your jurisdiction, state or jurisdiction. The drop down only gives 3 choices: American Samoa, CNMI, Guam. You choose and you make sure that you save and next. The next page is the confirmation. You need to please confirm that you meet the eligibility by reviewing the information and then clicking confirm next to each confirmation. I live in the Creative West region in one of the following jurisdictions: American Samoa, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, or Guam. We trust you. So you click that confirm, that's it. We're not going to call you and say, what's your social security number? We're going to do a police check on you. We're not doing any of that. We're trusting you are telling the truth with the confirm button. Same with that you are at least 18 years of age. I understand that if I'm selected, I will be expected to attend the program sessions. It's all the things that I explained to you. So by clicking this confirm, you agree to participate if you're selected. Save and next. I think this is the submission page. So now this tells me you have met all the requirements for this fund. Thank you. Are you ready to submit? Now you might not be. You might think, oh, I've still got a week. I want to look at it again. I don't want to click submit yet. Let me save and keep working, which means I can go back in. It won't say start anymore. It'll say edit, and you can go back in your application. Or you can say, you know what, this is it. I've looked at this 100 times. My aunt has looked at it. All these people have looked at it, and I'm ready. Then you click save and submit. Thank you. This screen will pop up. You'll also get an email confirmation. And you've done it. That definitely does happen. We had a grant submission recently, and this was our fault. We didn't tell our tech people that this thing was loading, and probably 400 people tried to do it at the same moment, and it caused a shakeup. So do it in advance. If you learn nothing else tonight, please, friends, doing in advance. Yes. Five minutes or less. So if you have a video right now, you need to do some editing. And I would say don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go and, I don't know, I wouldn't go out and make something new unless you are just starting out and you are learning something and that's what you're bringing to the table and you need to make a video of something new because you're just learning how to do it. But if you already have something, I wouldn't make a new video. I would use something that I already have as my example. But for this one, the co-designers agreed that we need to have a work sample. Yeah, we get a point. So that can make a difference. Yes. Sorry, I just need one conversation, Miss Patty and friend. Miss Patty, sorry, I just need one conversation. Just give us 1 second. Yes. I mean, you can only be who you are. And you can only be who you are and what you've done. If you go and create something new, is that reflecting who you are and what you've done? So that's what you have. It only matters if it matters to you. I just don't want I don't want us to overcomplicate things. So yeah. And that is the thing that you should really think about. That may be an area where you might not get as many points as someone else because you've lived here since September. You can't change that. That is who you are, but you're here now. You can't change that. And I relate, if I moved here tomorrow, I'd have 1 day of experience living here. So that's who I am and that's who you are. That's okay. But you've lived here in this culture, which is very important to this program, since September. And other people have lived here their whole life. You just have to be who you are. But that's not something you've ever done before.
Yeah.
Let's just
work on it.
compelling. And it's 1 point. Your work sample is 1 point. To your point, your issue is culture. And you cannot change that. And you just have to be honest.
And going back to the sport is not your videos.
Yeah, but her issue is not that. Her issue is more about culture, cultural grounding, community impact. Community impact is there, but it's cultural grounding, and that is going to be worth 10 points. And the best thing you can do is be honest. That's it. Who you are. Don't try to make it up. So who you are is what matters to the question. Be your authentic self. Okay? All right. We are just about to land the plane. And the most important thing, right? As I was just actually saying, be honest and clear, not perfect. Do your best. Share what matters to you. Save your work often. You will receive kind and helpful feedback, whether you get the grant or not. If you get stuck, we're here to help. Here's our email address. And you have Miss Patty, you have Emma, you have Lenny, you have Miss Maggie, who are around living here locally in Saipan. You can do it. You can do it. Your elevator pitches showed that you can do it. It might feel scary, especially if it's your first time, but believe in your voice, your story, and your work. This fund is about honoring you and honoring your culture. Take your time, ask for support, and celebrate yourself. Celebrate, I've done this, maybe for the first time ever. We're looking to see your brilliance, your culture, the value that it brings, and we believe in you. Okay? So thank you very much. It's almost 8 o'clock on the dot. And I want to say, I think there's copies on the page there. The pink QR code is getting you to the application page. The blue one is this presentation. Okay, so if you want to grab that, you may. Thank you so much, everybody. You did it.